Hello YouTube, welcome to the Diligent Investor Digest, a channel that hopes to empower the everyday individual to make better investment decisions. In this episode, I want to talk about something that I think is very important. It's a new concept that's been making headlines. I'm talking about open banking. So as a starting point, I think it's a good idea to go to the Government of Canada website. So if we look at the website, it's summarized here by saying open banking is a secure way for you to share your financial data with financial technology companies, often called fintech or fintech firms, fintech apps. Fintech apps provide online financial products or services. You use these apps on a computer, mobile phone, tablet. Fintech apps are different from your bank's online or mobile banking features. So, okay, this gives us an idea. It's a new way of sharing information. Supposedly it's a safer way to share information. Security is obviously very important. Some of you might be asking, and rightly so, about the fact that you already securely share your financial data with, between your bank and an app. Anybody who uses QuickBooks will know that you can connect your bank account to your QuickBooks software, and it can download all that transactional data and make journal entries for you. There's also like budgeting apps around that can go into your bank account and get the information necessary to help you budget. And of course, on the website too, it says that a significant amount of financial data is already being shared through technological workarounds used by fintech apps. One of the most common methods of fintech apps used to access financial data is called screen scraping. Okay, so we can see that data is already being shared, but I guess the government, always concerned for our safety, thinks it's not being shared securely. So this security topic is elaborated on by the next article that I'm going to look at. The article is from Maclean's magazine. It's called The Big Idea, How Open Banking Can Fix Canada's Financial Security Issue. It's written by Alexander Vronsis, January 30, 2024. So a very recent article. Now, Alexander, after he has informed us that he's been working as a policy analyst in Canada's financial services financial sector. He was surprised to learn that our banking system is risky sometimes, not with our deposits, but with our data. Okay, so the problem is that most of the country's banks don't give Canadians a way to share all that data securely. Well, I disagree with that. Again, the QuickBooks example is a great example. Data is being shared. I've never heard of any issues stemming from you sharing your data with QuickBooks, right? Now, Alexander says the solution is for government to introduce consumer-driven or open banking, a regulatory measure that's already been legalized and cleaned up this exact mess in the European Union and the UK. So that's very interesting because, if you read that, you're thinking like, oh, great. We already have proof of, this stuff being implemented and given good results in terms of, cleaning up cybercrime. So, with all due respect, Alexander, how about you analyze this? You do a quick Google search of UK's cybercrime statistics, and you get this message. The UK is the highest number of cybercrime victims per million internet users at 4,783 in 2022. That is up 40% since 2020 figures. Open banking was introduced in the United Kingdom in 2018, 2019. So this is the mess that Alexander says is being cleaned up in the UK. I don't think so. I found another website that goes over UK crime statistics, and it goes more into depth, and it talks about all the different cybercrime that's committed. Okay. So here he says, under an open banking system, consumers also get more control and greater protection. An open banking framework allows users to meaningfully decide who and which apps can access their data for how long and for what purpose. Now, why reinvent the wheel? At this point in time, we have full control of who we share our banking data with, and it's rather simple, right? putting all that information all into one place, all into one database, that almost like increases the risk, because now if that gets hacked, everyone's information about everything has been compromised. Now, this is probably like my favorite sentence in the article by Mr. Alexander, and it is something that I agree with. So he says, when open banking rolls out in Canada, its immediate benefits will be mostly invisible, like a security update on your smartphone. And this is why I agree with him. He's absolutely right. When this rolls out, the consumer is not going to see any benefits, he's not going to feel any benefits, he's not going to notice any benefits, because there are no benefits for the consumer. The main benefits of having a centralized database that pulls everybody's information, there's no advantage to the consumer. It's really an advantage to the government, because now they have this incredible database that they can know everything about a person, not just their credit score. It comes down to your spending habits. Are you smoking weed? Do you listen to your headphones too loud? What kind of music do you listen to? Things like that. I don't think it's a good idea to give so much information to government. Now, of course, they say you're going to have the choice of who you share it with, and that's fine. They're talking about like other firms who you could potentially be applying for a loan to. But think about it. If this big data set exists, the government is going to have a backdoor access to it. Okay, so that was an interesting article by Maclean's magazine. It focuses on the security aspect of it, but like I said, a lot of this is kind of, a lot of the benefits are very vague, right? And talking about benefits, let's go back to the Government of Canada website, where it says open banking may offer you several other benefits. It may, right? It's not guaranteed. But let's listen to this. In my opinion, all of this is kind of like really fluffy. I can't see a single benefit here. So, having access to a wider range of useful, competitive, consumer-friendly financial products. Again, how is a safe portal to exchange your information going to increase the amount of products available? That doesn't make sense. Having real-time access to all your financial accounts. Well, guess what? You already have real-time access to all your financial accounts, right? So again, what's the benefit? Having quick and easy access to personalized tools and products to help improve your financial health. Examples include financial product comparison tools and budgeting tools. These tools already exist. You can download them on your app store, and they're there, and they can help you improve your financial health. We don't need open banking to to have these tools. And demonstrating your creditworthiness is creditworthiness more easily to loan providers, having all your information in one place. Now this I think is particularly dangerous, because we can already demonstrate our creditworthiness with this thing called a credit score. Now, open banking, as I said, they will pull information, like all the details of your banking, all your spending habits, right? So now when they're saying this will help you demonstrate your creditworthiness, they're saying they're going to have more information on you to evaluate your credit, right? So in my opinion, this is one step closer to something like the social credit score system that they have in China. It doesn't just look at your credit, it takes into account a vast array of other variables. Is that a benefit? I don't think it's a benefit for the consumer. Maybe it might be. It's definitely a benefit for the Chinese Communist Party. So it'll definitely be a benefit for an authoritarian government, not for a consumer. And here we have figure 2. The Government of Canada summarizes the benefits of open banking with greater control. And we talked about that. I think you have ultimate control to your finances at this point. We don't need open banking to have more. Enhanced protection. Okay, I'll give them that. Maybe this API framework that they create will offer more protection. Maybe. Now, more choices. And it's interesting. You got more choices and all in one place. These two kind of like contradict each other, right? More choices of what? We already have plenty of choices of apps. We have plenty of choices of financial institutions. I don't even know what this means. All in one place, I already talked about that. That's not an advantage. That creates a huge risk. If you have a database that contains all your information, that's one hell of a honeypot. And, it will be hacked, and that information will be compromised. And, and then what? Right? Okay, so now let's go into an article from Financial Post. Open banking is coming, heralding big changes in how Canadians bank. It's published on March 10th, 2024, and it's written by the Canadian Press. Oh, Ian Bickus? Ian Bickus of the Canadian Press. Okay, so let's see what the Financial Post says. Changes in the winds that will give Canadian consumers and businesses significantly more control over their financial data, including who they share it with and what's known as open banking. So again, another this pitch of like, oh, it's more security, you get more control of who you share it with. You have ultimate control right now of who you share your financial information with. All right. Okay. Evangelists for the open banking shift underway globally praise it as a way to boost competition, dramatically shift how payments are made, and overall move to a more people-oriented financial system. Again, what is the presence of this? Is our financial system right now dog-oriented? Is it cat-oriented? Like, I'm pretty sure it's very people-oriented at this point right now. Again, why do we need to mess with it? And here comes some more of that pompous talk that we're so used to seeing in today's day and age. It's all about having fairer, more inclusive, more open society. Well, like, what does that even mean? It's just a collection of buzzwords. And this, of course, is a quote from Helen Child. Helen Child is a founder of Open Banking Excellence. And there's a couple of more quotes for Helen Child here. It drives financial inclusion and it's democratizing data. Again, just a bunch of fluff. Like if somebody can translate this into like what it means to like an everyday person, please leave a comment below. Let me know, because to me this just sounds like a bunch of like big words glued together in the hopes that it sounds better. So one of the biggest areas of growth is in credit assessment. Under open banking, lenders could directly access an individual's banking data so they can look beyond credit scores. And this is what I'm talking about. This is the most dangerous part. Creating the database that doesn't just pull your credit score. It looks at all your spending patterns. And that, I think, is very dangerous. Okay, so we're going to look at one more article. This is from Global News. And I got to say, out of all of the articles that I came across, this one is the one that kind of offers both sides of the story, right? The other ones were just like all pro open banking. Open banking is going to be wonderful. It's going to have benefits. Absolutely nothing to worry about. This is just going to, clean up the mess, as Alexander Vrontzis put it. So, Global News, changes in the works that will give Canadian consumers and businesses significantly more control over their financial data. So the standard pitch that we've heard in all these other articles. And of course we have the fluff. It's about having a fair, more blah, 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 blah. Helen Child. Okay. It talks about, how consumers can build better credit, drives financial inclusion, all that good stuff, of course. And here's another good quote from Helen Child. It's a significant social movement and social progression following the steps of what's happening in the rest of the developed world and even a lot of developing countries. Okay, so, Global News talks about what happened in different countries rather explicitly. At least they gave a quote. Here it is. The system also had fairly low pickup while it launched in Europe in 2019, said Aries Bogdaneris, Scotiabank's head of Canadian banking, at an investor day. We prepared for it and we tried to make sure that we were ready and resilient, said Bogdaneris, who worked at ING in Netherlands before switching to Scotiabank last year. It didn't really materialize at all. It was like Y2K. It didn't really materialize at all. It was like Y2K. Okay, so going back to Helen Child, it's a significant social movement and social progression, and I really hope that Canada follows suit and rejects this initiative as well. So even in the UK, where it was pioneered in 2018, where, Mr. Alexander says it's clean up the mess of cybercrime, only about 11% of British consumers were using open banking as of last June. Right, so that's 5 years after implementation, after pushing it down people's throats, only 11% are using it. So hopefully by now you have a good idea of what this open banking business is all about. And I want to pass it over to our Prime Minister, our current Prime Minister in Canada. Some say he's a creepy dictator. His name is Justin Trudeau. And I'm going to play you something where he tries to pitch open banking to some of the most vulnerable people right now, those who are struggling to pay rent. So he's pitching it to them as something that will save them. Now, my guess is, as with everything else that Trudeau has done to help, it's always worked backwards, right? So whatever he hopes to accomplish, he's going to get the complete opposite. Okay, so without any further ado, let's hear it from Big Trudy.
We'll do that by making sure that the fact that you pay your rent every month, which, remember, is a pretty significant amount of money, that payment and that demonstrated reliability that you've shown over months and years is taken into account when you apply for a mortgage. We're going to amend the Canadian Mortgage Charter and call on landlords, banks, credit bureaus, and others to make sure that your rental history is taken into account in your credit score.